Absolute chaos just south of the United States as a country nearby descends into anarchy. Also, we're going to be covering a major meat plant shutting down inside the United States. Pork will be impacted across the U.S. And we're seeing Brazil is being impacted by an epidemic of over 1 million people just in the first 2 months so far this year. Serious illness of the dengue fever going around. Also, we have viewer updates from all over the U.S. as well as other countries on shortages and issues that we're facing. Let's jump into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and these are your updates. These are updates from people just like you from all over the place and might just actually be you. If you have things that you're seeing where you are, please do reply as a comment on any one of the videos on this channel and use the word update somewhere in there. Let us know what you're seeing at your stores. Let us know what you're seeing and hearing at your workplaces, shortages, things that are going wrong, information that needs to be shared with other people. We appreciate you guys. And we do want to thank our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. They help people who have retirement accounts, 401ks, IRAs, shifting that into something stable like gold, silver, platinum. Not stocks and bonds, which are going up and down like crazy, but into something stable. Gold is on a run right now. You might want to talk to somebody about that. If you have questions, there'll be a link at the end of the video to get some more information. All right, let's talk about Haiti. This country, just off the Florida coast, right? Haiti is literally imploding. It's been bad. It's been bad for a very long time, right? Ever since the United States got involved before. Not saying it's America's fault this time, but maybe somewhat. Anyway, so they're moving into total collapse. Gangs are taking over the streets. Even citizens are forming militias to fight back against the gangs in some cases, but they're losing against these criminal gangs. President Biden has sent in Marines, but only to evacuate embassy staff and their families, not to evacuate American citizens. Representative Corey Mills, a congressman from Florida, organized a private rescue of 10 Americans from Haiti. This is being done privately and not by the U.S. government. The U.S. government is not doing anything, where they're attacking other countries in the Middle East and doing all sorts of stuff in Europe. But when it comes to saving American citizens from very dangerous situations, there is absolutely zero care shown. That is so endemic of this administration, honestly. Prime Minister Henry has announced that he will be resigning because he has lost control of his government and lost control of Haiti. The United States has called for his resignation, and he has promised to resign. Whether there will be an election to fill his post or whether the country will just descend further into chaos remains to be seen. Peacekeepers from Kenya and some other countries are looking like they will be deployed if they haven't already, but the blue helmets from the UN are probably not going to do very much to stabilize the situation. Tyson Foods in Perry, Iowa, have a major pork plant that will be shutting down for good. 1,200 jobs will be lost, and it is the largest employer in that city in Iowa, and it will impact pork prices across the United States. They produce a lot of pork there. Also, the farmers in the immediate area are going to be impacted too. The farmers with contracts for that plant are going to be out of luck. It's going to be a big blow to that region. Also, we have more missiles fired at U.S. warships in the Red Sea by the Houthis in Yemen, but no damage to U.S. ships, thankfully. They were either shot down or they missed, and so that is good. And speaking of the major outbreak of dengue fever in Brazil, numerous states across Brazil are in a state of emergency due to so many cases of dengue fever. Like I said, in the first 2 months, there have been over 1 million cases. This is massive. Dengue fever is sort of like malaria in that it's mosquito-borne. I'm not sure if it's as bad or a little less bad than malaria. It is treatable, but it is involved in treating it. It's not an easy fix. It's not pop these pills for 7 days and you'll be good. It takes a lot of work to work people through the recovery process, and that dengue fever is nothing to sneeze at. And the fact that they have 1 million people, they've deployed their army and their National Guard and medical units and stuff like that to actually treat people, as well as their hospitals being overwhelmed in many of these states. There's a massive drought across the center of Brazil as well that is unprecedented, and it is definitely impacting the whole Amazon basin. There's just not water. The Amazon is drying up itself. It's just a lot of crises happening in Brazil. So far, we're not seeing projections of their agricultural output being impacted by that, but we're keeping an eye on that because that could change relatively quickly. A Leopard woman says, my brother taught med school and did brain research at Stanford University. He collaborated in research with Kary Mullis, the inventor of the PCR test. Paying attention? He left the field due to the corruption of the medical industry. The PCR test is how they determine whether or not you have the cough, remember? It's also the same kind of test used to check to see if birds have the avian flu. And we've said over and over again, if you actually read the papers, you see that there is a false positive that happens in a statistically significant number of the tests. If you take enough of those tests, you will test positive. That's just what happens. So he helped with the design and set with a PCR test. He quit due to the corruption that he saw in the medical industry. He saw it is all for profit and would never have gone into medicine if he knew it was this bad. You got to be your own advocate, friends, and you got to watch out, because there are far too many people in the medical industry that will just try to get you out of the hospital. They will just try to send you away with a bottle of pills instead of actually fixing or even diagnosing the things that are actually going on. If you want to know some medical experts, all you have to do is just go to churches that have active Sunday school groups, active small groups. You get quite the education by being around people that you're praying for, who have health issues and everything like that. So churches are a great place to get medical advice, because so many people have heard so many different things. But whether it's accurate is another thing to ask questions. But almost as useful as Google. Surround yourself with people who know stuff, right? It's important. Another viewer says, my Tractor Supply in Safford, Arizona has not had their grain-free chicken and vegetable dog food in over a month. Clerk said that they haven't been able to get it, but to try their affiliate, PetSense, down the street. Why would they send you to another store that has Tractor Supply feed there? Anyway, I did, and they had one bag for $52. 3 of the fish and potato and 1 beef. I have 4 dogs, 3 of which need grain-free. Don't know what's happening with their supply, but their other dog foods were low as well. We're hearing issues with dog food out there. Okie Girl says, my daughter has AT&T cell service. She did an update on her phone and it messed the phone up. Anyone else have that problem? You do an update and suddenly everything just doesn't work anymore? She couldn't call or text unless she was on Wi-Fi. Spent 2 hours in the AT&T store and they couldn't fix it, and they had to send it in. Neriki says, I live in mid-Missouri. My father-in-law is a State Farm broker in Northeast Ohio. He says insurance rates are going up due to unavailable parts. They are having to total out cars that a few years ago they could have fixed for a few $1,000s. They're having to replace with new cars, or often what happens is if they total the car, right, they say, well, how many years have you gotten out of that car? We're only going to pay you for the portion that's the remaining value in the car, right? He says totaling them out costs less than waiting for parts and paying for rental cars. I don't think rates are going to go down anytime soon, and that's It doesn't sound like they will be going down anytime soon. And if you have any damage done to your cars, be aware that when you take it into the shop, it may be there for quite some time. Catherine in Northeast Alabama says, last week my doctor sent out a letter letting his patients know that he and his wife were closing their practice and they're moving on. Supposedly the nearby hospital would be forming a clinic to take over the practice. I'm looking for a nearby PCP who accepts Medicare supplement, but so far haven't had any luck. All the doctors in towns are now specialists. It's getting difficult out there, that's for sure. That's for sure. And Natasha says, my check engine light came on yesterday or the day before, so I went to my nearest AutoZone to have it checked out. And they told me that the machine, to check the codes, is down at all locations. That sounds weird because they don't necessarily need to be connected to the internet, right? You can get ones off Amazon to do that, but they don't have to be constantly updated. Not sure if that's nationwide or just locally here in Houston, Texas. But yeah, definitely fishy and suspect. Going to try another auto parts store, hopefully. Hopefully I will have better luck. Something else to think about is having a mechanic that can actually diagnose problems without the machines. Is that even possible these days anymore, right? Haunted Hillbilly. My family in Colombia is seeing banks with signs saying they will buy anything. That is gold or silver. Also, because the currency is in crisis there. Also, they are watching the news last week, and 2 times in the news, they reported that Colombians need to buy silver and gold. I asked yesterday if they have heard anything else, and no other mention of precious metal, of buying precious metal. Everything has exploded in price there. We've been saying that if you have money to spare after you get set up on food, after you take care of your housing to get that as stable as possible, that you need to be taking, investing into things that are going to retain their value, like silver and gold. They're stable in price. They're not going to make you rich necessarily, but what they are going to do is they're going to protect your value and your wealth against losses in the dollar or other currencies. Renee says, so San Diego closed 2 Walmarts in really bad locations, pushing that crowd out to the unincorporated part of East County and our Super Walmart store. I have friends that do Instacart, and they got letters after being a 5-star employee for 5+ years. They were told that they were no longer a part of Instacart. This is big, friends. Now, up at our Walmart store, you see grown men of all cultures that do not speak English, and they're just standing in a pile like they would at a Home Depot store. They are waiting for Instacart orders so they can run through the store and earn money by doing Instacart, which was taken away from Americans. So apparently in some areas, Instacart is getting rid of native-born Americans on the platform so that they can offer jobs to those who are here under questionable circumstances. I didn't use the word that Biden did, that he got in trouble for, right? I don't want to use that word. But that's pretty, is anyone else hearing this? Anyone else experiencing this in your area? Are you seeing your Instacart orders being delivered by people who are not native born? Are you someone who has worked for Instacart? Are you seeing people being laid off, or have you experienced that? Let us know down in the comments down below. Make sure you use the word update in that, right? Now they have special lanes for those men to go through quickly, and they closed all the self-checkout lanes, but 2 where they could be watched much more closely. Self-checkout lanes, right? I don't even like going up there anymore unless I'm with my husband. This is from Bonnie in Frankfort, Kentucky at Kroger. Potatoes are low, not many bags. Salad and milk is very low, and eggs went up in price, way up in price. Not looking good here. No applesauce. Also went to Dollar Tree today. Some things are now $1.75 in the Dollar Tree, right? From $1.25 up to $1.75. It's speeding up, if you noticed. And again, that applesauce seems to be related to the issues with cinnamon. So if you've bought cinnamon recently, there's some lead issues with some of the cinnamon. Check to see if you're covered by recalls, and that is what's causing some of these applesauce issues. Because there's a lot of cinnamon in those. Mike says, non-food, non-medicine. Over the last few months, I have heard complaints that our only straight-up shoe store, Shoo Mega, has been discovered closed during posted business hours. Last Monday, I drove my mom there to look for a new pair of kicks, and at 11:10 a.m., the doors remained locked, lights off. They were to open at 10. Shoes come down the list a bit of serious items to purchase for most folks. However, this may be an indicator of big chains in rural areas perhaps becoming subject to or at the mercy of local employee behaviors. In other words, if they don't have employees, they can't stay open, which we're seeing in other places too, right? Mike says, for over a year now, I have heard trains passing through that sound much, much heavier than normal. I grew up in this town. I have been back living full-time for 14 years. I know the sounds of what passes directly through here. Something very new that was that maybe 8 months ago, once in a while, those heavy trains seem to have a chopper in an escort. Now, this is in Fort Spring, West Virginia. So some of the trains coming through, very heavy trains, now have chopper escorts. We live in a very rural area. I'm not the only one who has noticed. Many folks here and in the little town Alderson, just down the road from us, have heard and seen the same. Too many questionable things going on for peace of mind. Those could be military trains, particularly they could be carrying military armaments to the ports, so that those armaments could be going over to Eastern Europe, right? The conflict over there. That is a potentially likely scenario on that. They could be emptying artillery shells or other weapons and armament to head out that way. That'd be my best guess, but if anyone else has a thought on that, please let us know. Gris says Walmart in Orlando, Florida, would not accept cash and went to a second Walmart, and they said the same system was down. Also, no cash was being accepted. So Walmart systems, when they don't have cash, when the system, they can't accept cash. So let us keep informed about that. Thanks so much for your reports coming in. If you want to get some more information from Genesis Gold about what they can do for you and just get some information or whatever, the link right here, you fill out the form and they'll send you an information packet and you can reach out to them. Make sure if you do call them directly to mention this channel so they do waive your setup fees. That's a big deal. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.